You are listening to the Berlin House Music Podcast. But yeah.
Yeah.
Raphael Kirsch in the building.
Yo.
For the second time. He was our second guest, but apologies, I have totally fucked up the recording. And I think looking at the recording now, it's getting fucked as we speak. But I have a backup recorder, and that's the Tascam, the old school Tascam for the club recordings. Anyways, so we're gonna redo the podcast a bit. We're obviously not gonna talk about the same things, or maybe we are. We don't know.
Let's see.
Yes. So I think we could possibly use the introduction of last time, or if you want to go for another introduction.
I think I just go for a second time, and then we see which one is better. No, it's just
and we just copy and cut everything.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So I think I can start.
Yes, you
Perfect.
can.
So hi, I'm Raphael. I'm a born and raised Berliner, and I don't know how to start describing myself. I think music in my whole life was a really big part, especially in my family. We were listening to a lot of radio channel when I was a kid. I loved to play cassettes. I was also, when I went to sleep, listening to cassettes a lot, listening books, and I loved it. And I was always really looking after new music. And when I was a kid, I started playing drums for 8 or 9 years. I'm not entirely sure anymore. I love playing drums, and I also started listening to music, collecting music, and then during my school time here in Berlin, I started playing some records at private parties, at some birthdays, and I really liked it. And then I got really into it. And after I finished school, I went to Australia for 1 year. Did work and travel like most of the German guys during that time. After that time, I moved to Hamburg to start my studying, and I started study musicology. And I finished my bachelor there. And during that time, during my study, I started my own series of parties with a friend, or with two friends to do it correctly. And the party series was called, or is called, Luxes. We haven't done a party since a few years now, but we are rethinking about doing some stuff in the future. So there we invited some of our house heroes during that time. Had some great parties. We started from scratch, to say so. And then I also got an influence of a friend called Niklas. He started playing only vinyl and started collecting records, and that influenced me a lot. And I started collecting records also, and played vinyl. And now I'm really hooked and started collecting stuff, and I'm really looking for new house tunes nearly every day. That's a big time of my life, a big part of my life. After I finished my study in Hamburg, I went back to Berlin and did my master's here in musicology. And now I'm finished since June last year. Now I'm open for some new house music projects. And that's basically what I'm doing now.
All right. Good. Yeah, and I think your studies is generally very interesting because you don't hear a lot of people in the scene who actually dedicate, let's say, their studies for the music and musicology. I think I still want to touch upon the master thesis.
All right.
Of yours with the basslet.
Yes. So during my master's classes, I first got an impression of the Berlin startup called Lofeld. And what they've invented was a baselet. That's a subwoofer for your wrist, kind of. And you wear it like a normal watch, kind of. And you're listening to. So what it basically does is it has a range of deeper frequencies from 20 to 250 hertz, and that directly like creates vibrations that you can feel on your skin. Um, and you listen to music, and that's what you've maybe missing when you're listening to music in your everyday life, when you're like in the train or when you're on your bike or just walking through the city and listening to music. You can only hear it, but there's this like vibrotactile feedback missing. And so what I did was I had the idea that I want to have some people who try that baselet out, and I invited 24 people, and they were at first listening to music without the baselet or sometimes with the baselet. It depended, so I changed it during that study. And the other way around, they listened to the same music with the baselet, and that was really interesting because the people had some, or they've told me that they had some really different feelings and different experiences of music. And you can possibly think about when you're playing a violin or something, you not only hear what you're playing, but you can also feel the whole body of the violin vibrating in your hand or at your neck, kind of. And you can imagine that it's nearly the same feeling. I mean, it's not at the right point of body, kind of, but you can also feel those vibrations with the baselet, and that's what the people were really amazed about, kind of. And yeah, that was what I did in my master's thesis. And my aim was to gain some new insights about how like multi-modal experiences of music can influence your music experience, and how you, yeah, hopefully can improve your listening experience in your normal day life.
Yeah. Yeah, what I think is interesting about also the frequencies that you've mentioned from 20 to 200, 250?
250, yes.
250. So that's basically the lower ends of the bass, and those waves are long. So if you don't have huge speakers on small speakers, you won't be able to hear them, basically. In the club, you do,
Yeah.
because usually has big speakers
Yeah.
and subwoofers, but in the regular day life, you don't really you're not able to hear them. So I think it's very interesting that they managed to get those vibrations in like in the baselet, which
Yep.
is a bracelet.
Yes. Absolutely.
And I think it's very good also for bedroom producers, who we all are at the moment because of the whole COVID situation. The studios are closed, and I think most of the people start out in the bedroom producing, making beats. So yeah, instead of buying huge ass speakers and being the annoying dude in the complex, in the apartment complex,
Yes.
you can just get a baselet. But
Yeah.
it's not available now for sale anymore, right?
That is correct. Yeah, so that's a really interesting point that you've just said, because they used this technology. They've invented like a little motor for that baselet, which is like an actuator. And those little things can be used in different products. And you can for sure use the space LED also for home producing, if you don't want to annoy your neighbors or your friends that are living with you. And they've just done it like a Kickstarter campaign, and they got enough money for a bit, but then they wanted to do something else. And they had a collaboration with I think they are a gaming company called Razer, and they've invented a headphone where this little actuator is built inside. And that's super interesting. I had the chance to try that out.
Yeah.
And they've just gave me a little insight of a game, kind of. And then I was like gaming a little. I think it was like a racing game or something with a car.
Okay.
And then when a car just came across me, I could feel those car movements in my headphone, and that was super super interesting. And it's like a completely different way of like gaming, or maybe listening to music, or also watching films. So the possibilities that you get with this little device are huge, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You can use them in variety of ways, and I think those technologies are just the beginning. It's a startup, or maybe not anymore, but they've started a few years ago as a startup, and I think that lots of people were really interested in that, and I think that's maybe something that is a huge chance for the music industry also, to have some new technologies that can help you get rid of your little headphones listening experience that you've maybe had over the last years. Because I think when there were times when the people were only listening to music in concert rooms, or in their studios, kind of, and they had like bigger speakers at home, they had a different experience. So that's basically really really nice.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting also, because I remember in the our last recording session, which was still in 2020, we said hopefully that clubs are back open again.
Yes.
And that people are now coming back from the club. But I think this also gives maybe some possibilities for reinventing the club scene, let's say, in a different way, because I think I have been doing some brainstorming about how to make the clubs COVID-proof.
Yes.
And how to make them safe. The most obvious idea is to have isolated cells in them, basically. So, to have it with the kind of plastic glass kind of thing.
Yeah, plexiglass.
Plexiglass.
Yes.
Yes, that's an upcoming thing. But yeah, then the sound will be, it would reflect off it, so you would not get the actual right sound to it.
Yeah,
but
right.
if you can have then this kind of headphones that still vibrate the bass as well, that might be interesting.
Yes. I mean, there have been some, I'm not really sure. I think the name is silent discos over the last years, where everybody had his own headphones on, and there were different DJs playing at the same time, and you could switch your channels, kind of.
Yeah.
And I think the idea is funny and it's nice. And I guess that this could be a way of listening to music with more than just 2 or 3 people at the same time, and have this dancing opportunity, and getting rid of getting out of your flat or your little room that you're living in, kind of in the normal day. But I guess there are also some things that the people are not really liking at that time. I mean, it's always about having the screaming of the other people in the room, or the whole vibe of the crowd is totally different. But I think the idea is pretty interesting, to maybe give the people some other possibilities to experience the music, to listen to it.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that also now at that time where everybody is like social distant at the time, it can help to have some like skin contacts where you can feel and like experience a different way, and not only like having one of your modal things that you like have with listening or just watching stuff.
Yeah.
And I guess that it's something like feeling and touching things. Haptics is a really important thing at the moment. Also, people
True.
are missing those haptic experiences.
Definitely. I think a lot of people getting lonely as well,
Yeah.
and it's really hard to meet new people with the new regulations, or generally the regulations, but you also don't really want to risk anything
Yeah,
by
absolutely.
going out there and meeting other people, because you also don't know really what the people are up to. So it is a very hard thing, and I think it hits hard to like hit some people very hard, who have maybe also recently lost someone and don't really have like a lot of people they can who they could be supported by.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, that's an issue.
It is for sure. And I mean, I definitely understand that the whole situation now is something that never ever anybody had thought about before. And I guess that's nothing where the clubs could have made concepts before.
Yeah.
Kind of. Because it was really important that you meet people, having contacts with the people
Yeah.
in that club situation. And nobody had the, like, except of the silent disco maybe, had the idea of a distant dancing in a club.
True.
But I guess now is the time to think about different options, different concepts.
Yes.
And I guess that there are maybe options that maybe could be invented with some musicology backgrounds that could help clubs. Not only having a big sound system maybe in the club, but also have some smaller sound systems in different areas of the club, with a separate speaker. That would be one idea basically.
Yeah.
That I just came up with. I mean, that could be an option where you can meet your friends in a group of maybe 10 people, where you can dance together, but you're separated from different groups in a club. And I mean, it's not the perfect way of an experience in a club, but
No, definitely
it
not.
is an idea, and I guess it's important to think about differences.
Yes. Yeah, I think generally the club vibe is to come together and have this whole, let's say, warmth of people surrounding you basically, and everyone dancing is kind of energy.
Mm-hmm.
But to be able to survive this in general, we might need to, I see it this way. I think in the future it's going to be something like this. Once it is safe to open the clubs up again, more than 50% of the clubs will not be able to open again because financially they're like down.
Yep.
Like super like bad financial situation basically. But I think then other people who have thought of, let's say, more safe concepts or generally will take over and implement this, and take over from there.
Yes.
And I hope this happens because we don't want to see the club culture dying basically, but we want it to continue in any way, even if it means you're gonna have to dance separately. Yep. Separated with social distancing until we can have a regular thing again.
Yeah, absolutely. It is super interesting because I had thoughts about that before, how it will start again, basically. And I'm really, really curious how it basically will get back to normal things. And I'm not entirely sure at the moment if there is the possibility that the clubs can open again if the people would go at the first place, go to a club, because I think that especially now in our whole like city and in other cities also, the people are really really scared, and I think that's something that maybe will also take over after there is the possibility that they can open again because of the restrictions from the whole government. So I'm really curious, and I think you have to give the people some sort of safeness,
Yeah.
some sort of hygiene projects, kind of.
Yeah.
And I guess that this is the only way that we can get step by step back to normal life, kind of normal club life. And yeah, I think that lots of people, what you've said before, that lots of people will struggle with reopening their clubs again. There will be financial losses for sure, and there are financial losses. And I'm pretty sure that the structure of the scene will restructure, I guess.
Yes. Definitely. I think that's the interesting thing. I think it was very in demand to become a DJ, and it was a very cool scene to be a part of and this kind of thing. But now it's basically non-existent, and it's hard, and everybody knows. So I'm intrigued to see how many people, are motivated then to become a DJ in the future, because, it's a dead market.
At the moment, you're absolutely right. Definitely. And I see that also as a huge differences than the year before. I mean, there are lots of people that had really basically building up their own identity, their own persona as a DJ, and they were pretty famous, and that they are now not able to earn any money out of gigs, that they have to think about the future and what they will maybe do after the whole situation is maybe changing again. And I've heard about some DJs, especially here in Germany. I know a few that are now having normal day jobs, and they are maybe doing music when they are finishing their jobs, and maybe they are going home on the weekends and doing some, like you said before, like some bedroom producing.
Yes.
But I guess that they have to think about what is also an option for me for the next years. And I guess that this will restructure the scene for sure. I mean, it is also interesting to see how labels, how party inventors, promoters, how all of them are surviving this whole situation. And I'm pretty I'm not really sure actually. I'm curious how this will work out.
Yeah. One thing I noticed or was thinking about is actually generally when it comes to masses organization and logistics of things, event organizers and festival organizers have good experience with that. So I was also thinking, because you have the vaccine centers at the moment, and they want to basically massively vaccinate everyone. So I was wondering whether, let's say, expertise of festival organizers would come in handy to actually organize that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah, great idea, I guess. I haven't thought about that, but yeah, there are lots of people that know how to maybe also influence the people that they will vaccine, and that they have a great structure of how to, because I think what I've read that you need 2 vaccines, so how to organize all of that, like it has to get a structure. And I know that during the last days it was really chaotic. I've read, like lots of people came but they didn't had enough, and then lots of people were waiting outside a few hours, and I guess this is not the way it should be. And maybe this is something where like event organizers could also help. That's a great idea, actually.
True. Well, yes, because it has been very cold.
Yes.
So people waiting hours.
It's
Well,
winter, yeah.
it does kind of remind me of the Berghain waiting
Yes,
line.
I basically thought about the same.
Yeah, because then it's like, okay, you have to wait. If you want to get a vaccine or want to come into the club, you have to wait.
Not today.
Not today. But actually, you can easily make the clubs into a vaccine center. Well, okay, hygiene-wise,
Yes.
it would not be the best place, to be honest.
I mean, queue management is a huge part. I mean, to get the people into the right queue and help them to find the right exit or the right entry.
Yes.
And I mean, it is definitely not too bad to have some experiences with that.
Yes. But you said 2 vaccines.
Yeah, I think you need to be fully vaccinated.
Okay.
So
but is it like, do you get both at one
no,
time?
that's the point. So what I've read is that at first you come for the first vaccine,
Okay.
and then a few weeks after you come for the second one. And the problem is that it's not. I mean, that's also only what I read. That it's not working perfectly when you only got one. So what they've done is they've now saved some vaccines for the second vaccination.
But it is the same vaccine.
I guess it's the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're just pulling facts basically out of thin air.
Yeah, I mean that's only what I've read in the last days in the magazines, but in news. But I know the whole situation is not easy, and I guess we are all facing difficulties during that time, and I guess also some unknown problems will pop up for sure.
Yes. Some side effects of the vaccine.
Yeah,
Definitely,
nobody knows
definitely.
at the moment. So, I mean, it is important to make some new projects in your mind, some like planning stuff for the future, like
Yeah.
when it's all getting step by step back to normality. And yeah,
True, and I think, well, here's the thing. Because this is the thing when we're talking about normal. So we have been in this thing for almost a year. Let's say in 2 months would be a year. So what is normal
Yeah,
then?
you're
You know
right.
what I mean?
definitely.
Because
yeah.
then we gonna switch back from all the, let's say, the hygiene rules to normality, but then the normal doesn't feel as normal anymore.
Yeah.
So it would become a new reality in a way.
Yeah, absolutely correct. I think the same. When I say back step by step to normality, then I guess I'm thinking about that it's allowed to have people dancing in the club
Yeah.
and not having any restrictions, kind of.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. No, a normal club life is for sure not available in the next years, kind of. It's not the case anymore, because
Yeah.
we all know how it can be, and to be honest, I hope that it will be a bit like the sometimes the hygiene and like that the washing of glasses, for example, is just one example. I hope
Yeah.
that they will all like thinking about how can we be as clean as possible, to say so, in an environment that the people don't get sick after a club experience. And I hope that those are all concepts that I are now thinking of.
Yeah.
And I know normal life is not something that we can imagine right now.
Yes. Yeah, I think it's well, it is hard also in the club environment generally, because you have to do with a lot of you're dealing with a lot of alcohol and some other substances.
Yes, absolutely. It's sometimes dark. It's a bit dirty in some clubs, and
Yeah.
it's a nice feeling, kind
Yes.
of. But especially in that time now, you maybe realize, it's not the best way to get to get out of really healthy sometimes.
Yes.
So
No, that is true. But then the new club experience might be more of a club experience that we are used to, basically sober clubbing.
Yeah.
Because with this, if there's no alcohol generally and there's no substances, I think you can control the people more. Oh my God, that sounds super evil.
It sounds evil, but I mean, yeah, I think that it is kind of for lots of people it is a really big part,
Yeah,
and I mean everybody can do what he wants to, and I guess this is also we've talked about that before, that a club is a place where everybody can be like he wants to be,
true.
kind of not being racist or sexist, but like if you want to take drugs then you can, kind of.
Yeah,
And nobody tells you no, don't do it. But for sure there are more risks,
yes,
for sure, if you are really like drunk or if you are on drugs.
yeah, yeah. That's the thing. If you don't really, if you're so off, let's say the world, that you don't really make sense anymore of what is what, and you don't care, and that's gonna bring aggression. Gonna ruin the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but interesting. But we should think of something.
Yeah,
You
we
know?
should. I mean, what lots of people are doing nowadays are like streaming portals. And what I've thought of now was like maybe the people could use something like a bracelet for their home club experience. I was thinking of maybe like a home party or something. I mean, it is not easy with when you have neighbors that are really easy annoyed of you
Yeah,
and of the noise, but maybe this could be an experience that you're watching a live set from a DJ somewhere, and where you can feel the music and not only listening to it.
yeah,
That is one option, and I guess also like open air spaces during the summertime are a nice option. I think they've tried it out last year,
yeah,
and it went pretty well at some places. Um, and it is good to have some fresh air, to have more space.
yeah.
And I guess this could be an idea to have more of open air festival experiences, where the people are a bit like maybe partying during the daytime
Yeah.
could also be a thing, where everybody is a bit more safer in like how I'm acting during my dances, and not drinking too much. But I know that those are just ideas, and I'm not sure how the restrictions will be in the summertime.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. And that's also the thing, if we go, well, the open air idea is then also only for the summer.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's,
It's nothing for the whole year, kind of.
no.
Especially now that the degrees are minus someday. It's not easy, and I know, especially in that time where like it's getting really fast dark, like really early.
Yeah.
And lots of people are suffering of a depression or something, that they
Yes.
just want to get out and just want to have a great night where they can dance and just be themselves at the moment. And I guess this is something that definitely needs a new option to help the people.
Definitely. I think depression in general is a huge topic now that people can't really do anything. They cannot, let's say, meet up also with new people or find someone that's close. But I've also noticed some of like a little bit, I want to say it's a phenomenon, but I'm making it one. I'm making it up as we go. No, but it's like the corona relationships. let's say, people who are kind of like lonely due to Corona and all that stuff, and then they kind of stick together even if the partner is not the ideal partner, but because they're just in need of a partner, they stick together during the Corona time, which I don't think is very healthy. But I guess if that works for them, then that's fine.
Okay, yeah. I haven't noticed that before, actually. It's interesting that you say that.
Yeah.
When the whole, I think when the first lockdown started, I've read something interesting, and that was that I think in Italy or France, red wine and condoms were sold out, and that is super funny. I mean, the people are that they used the free time and the time like during the winter time or during the springtime, they used it pretty well. And
Yes.
I guess that there are lots of Corona babies, maybe.
Yes.
I mean, the people are now really in the need, and that was what we were talking before, in the need of touch, of a social interaction, and I
Yes.
mean, some love, and I guess this is
Some lemon, baby.
yes, and I guess this is maybe something that we will notice in a few years, that lots
Yes.
of people are now born in maybe this year or next year.
Yeah, this is the thing, but it's funny because you already called them Corona babies.
I know. I just read this. I just read this word, and I thought it's funny. Because yeah.
Yeah, but it is, just imagine, like, you know, like 20 years later, then those people will be told that they have been born in a very weird time during a pandemic where Corona was ruling, basically.
Yeah, a new generation. I mean,
Generation Corona.
no, I mean I mean, if you're a person who is really like looking for some interaction and is really looking for a partner, then this is also really hard, I guess, in that time now, because you're not able to meet some people at a bar, you're not able to meet some people in a concert or when you're going to a cinema, and I think that lots of people are now using, I don't know, apps like Tinder or I don't know, other dating apps, and I think that this is something that was really using a lot in the last years and really famous. But I guess in the last year, lots of people use that also a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the only way, basically, of communicating with other people who are willing to date.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because otherwise you would meet them like in the bar or in a club. But now it's just the app. That's the sound of Berlin.
Sound of the not police.
Ambulance.
Yes, it's the sound of the ambulance.
But yeah, okay. The thing is, what I actually liked about the last one we did with DJ Fox himself was we kind of pretended that there was no Corona.
Nice.
And we were just like regularly talking, pretending to be in a, let's say, in a room next to like the club or next to the dance floor.
Yeah.
So
man, do you hear that nice track?
exactly. He was like, "Hey man, let's hit the dance floor."
Oh
like,
yes, let's go now.
But yeah, it's hard completing a podcast when you're on the dance floor, you know.
It is for sure.
Not having the mic with you.
It's a different situation now, but I mean, what I've noticed when we were meeting up in the club, I think we were talking a lot about like the music we were playing, a lot about new releases, new upcoming artists maybe,
Yes.
or artists we've just recently discovered, and I think we could also talk about that. I mean, do you maybe have a nice release that you could recommend now? Have you like experienced a new upcoming artist or someone?
Let me think. Well, there are so many, like in general. The thing is, you would discover a bit more of new artists also because you see them like playing here and playing there locally, and that would be then very interesting. I think now it's generally more of social media DJs, let's say, or people who would then I would do like a premiere on the channel for them. But generally I try not to consume too much social media in general, so I don't really go through the feed too often. Because I think that's basically not very healthy.
You're right.
And especially I'm also doing like posts every day, so I try to limit the time of using social media just to post.
Some
basically.
screen off time, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, do you use like websites like DJ.de or other websites or record shop websites where you are searching for new records, or?
And no, I rarely buy records online actually.
Okay.
It's usually in the, let's say, record store. And if I'm DJ Fox himself, then we go to some flea markets and find some weird records.
Nice. Yeah, so that's basically what I'm also not really a fan of, is like ordering stuff online.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I'm sometimes a bit old school, kind of. Just I love to go into a shop, buying some stuff, buying records, and also maybe asking the staff, can they recommend a new record that I haven't on my radar at the time, or and I've sometimes got some great recommendations, but it's sometimes when I have some time in the evening, it's nice to just listen to some new upcoming or pre-sale stuff and not buying them at the first time, but just seeing, all right, there's a new label possibly doing some new stuff, and I like that, and this gives me a bit of a throwback when I was searching for records for a club evening, kind of, and I don't want to miss that, like listening to new music, but I'm not like ordering them at the first place, but I'm sometimes doing some pickup stuff when the shops are opened again, then I will go and see if I can maybe find some of the releases that I've just discovered, kind of.
Yeah.
But I mean, I also, at the moment, I'm not really listening to that much podcasts, but that's also sometimes a great way to discover new music.
Yeah. Like new mixes.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think, well, the record store generally is, I think, a great thing because you walk in and you're basically just looking at the records. And for me, it's always like the artwork and the names.
Yeah.
So it's either the artwork or the name that speaks to me. And sometimes it's just like super random, It's like some names I'm like, okay, this is interesting. I'm going to listen to you.
This is an interesting topic because I was thinking about my own shopping experiences and why I choose to listen to some of the records. And I don't know, I sometimes just pick some records that look a bit like they don't tell you anything about the music itself, like not a like a special cover artwork, or that there is not written down the real house music or something. And this sometimes were some great founds, kind of just picking random stuff and thinking, I haven't heard about this artist, but I don't know, it's somehow looking like nothing or looking crazy, kind of special. And it is crazy if you have like shops where there are lots of secondhand stuff, then it's not easy for me because there's so many. But if you're looking through the new releases of a record shop, then it's a bit easier. And it's an interesting thing how you are influenced by the haptics of the vinyl or the cover itself, or influenced by some visuals or some names, before you've ever listened to that record before, and why you've chosen that one. And it's also interesting for a label or a producer like you, what the people will, or what the main experiences are, and the main options, why I picked that one
Yeah.
to listen to.
Yeah, true. I think, well, I think generally, in a weird way, I don't really link the producer side or the label side to the picking of records, because when I'm digging, it's more like it's very personal.
Yeah, absolutely.
And sometimes I'm in a certain mood, or for example, I had a phase, like kind of, I think before moving to Berlin, where a friend, like a very good friend of mine, mentioned to me, is like, fear is an issue for you,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And I thought, like, what do you mean? I'm fearless, bro. What are you talking about? But after a while, I kind of understood what he meant. And it's generally like being afraid of things, of life generally, you know? And like I've grew basically in that way. But when I was digging at that time, then a record said, don't be afraid.
Yeah.
And I was like, shit, okay, I'm going to listen to you.
Yeah.
And it was a great record.
Nice.
I have it.
Nice.
I think I got it. It was Hardwax.
Ah, yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I think this is also something that I've noticed, that I'm sometimes thinking too much about, like, when I'm doing a mix or something. I'm really thinking a lot of how can I put the tracks that I'm really loving together, and I'm taking lots of time, and I'm also not that much that social media guy who's not really posting that much, and I know that this could be important at some time, but for me, I've noticed that I'm rethinking too much, or how can I post this, and how can I describe that, and what are the most valued posts that I can put out. And sometimes the record says it, don't be afraid, and sometimes it's maybe good to not think too much, and it's not easy to switch that off.
Yes.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. Sometimes we are a bit we have too much fear,
Yeah.
and not fearless enough, kind of.
Yeah, and I think that's, I noticed that in general, like things of life. Yeah, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, you just kind of live life and die at the end of it.
Yeah.
That's like basically for everyone a fact.
This is human.
Yes, but somehow there's still like, okay, if I do those things in this kind of way, then I have the least chance of, like, let's say, landing in a bad place, or you know. But sometimes I think that could actually limit you from living life to the fullest potential, as in just, you know, like really living it.
Absolutely.
So when you're a grandpa, you can actually look back and say, like, yeah, dude, I've just, you know, done whatever I wanted to do, or tried out whatever I wanted to try out, and not have been, you know, fearing everything, and just living safe in a way.
Yeah, this is interesting. I guess it's important to be happy with the choices you make, and I know it's not easy sometimes, but I had an interesting conversation with a colleague of mine at work, and she's in her 40s, and she, because I'm mostly a really optimistic guy, and I'm trying to be really happy, and yeah, like
Just a nice person overall, generally.
Thank you very much.
What?
So just being an uplifting guy, kind of, and she asked me, like, have you ever had any, like, experiences or thoughts where you were not happy with your life? And I thought back, and I know that there were a few, but in the whole situation now, I can say that I'm really happy with all that stuff I've done in the past. And she told me, yeah, I always wanted to have some animals, and a nice house with a great garden, and maybe, yeah, having some chicken or some cows or whatever, some dogs, and caring after them. And that was always a dream for her, but she hasn't. She never had the possibility, and she never, maybe she didn't earn that much money, or yes, there were some things that were in that time where she were not able to do that. But I guess it's never too late, and that's what I've told her. Like, I was like, okay, maybe it is not easy to save that much money to afford a big house or something, but then maybe think about somewhere where there's only a forest or something where you can maybe get a cheap one, and maybe rebuilding stuff,
Yeah.
and just try to do that if that's your dream, kind of.
Yeah.
And I guess this is something that you have to think about in your normal day life a bit more often. Like, what is my dream, and how can I afford that? And it's not easy, I know, and I'm also struggling with that. But sometimes you need someone who really like pushes you, or tells you you can do that if you want to.
Definitely. I think a little push and a little bit of yeah, just a little push can sometimes bring you like far, a lot far.
Absolutely.
And sometimes you're in that place in your mind where you don't know anything for certain, and just to get kind of a little confirmation from an outsider, let's say, or from someone
Yep.
else, actually kind of could organize the thoughts and then make out like the actual goal you're working towards.
Yeah.
But yeah, generally dreams and goals, it is a very hard one, because it has kind of two sides of things, right?
Absolutely.
Because at one point, like from on the one hand, you can say like, okay, I'm gonna dedicate my life to get that one dream.
Yeah.
And let's say at the end of it, or in the halfway through getting there, and you don't make it, and you just become super bitter that you've, let's say, wasted
Yeah. Your time.
that time on building on a dream, but it didn't actually matter because life is gonna end anyways if you've, like, let's say, attached so much emotion and value to that dream, and now you feel like a failure.
Yeah.
Which is then also hard, you know. But yeah, I think it's a very tricky one.
It is, and I guess there is nothing like a perfect plan or a perfect hint or something that you could give someone, because everybody has his own thoughts, and maybe he fears something completely different. And I guess there are people that really have this dream, like we are of like music lovers, maybe have the dream to open up an own label or open up an own club or something, and maybe there will be a chance in your life where you can do that, but I know that it's important to not only have that one dream, what you're living for, kind of. It's more important to have like a basic idea what you want to do with your life,
Yeah.
but not have that one big dream that you would do everything for.
Yes. Yeah,
But yeah, it's
no, I understand.
subjective.
I understand what
completely.
you're saying, but it's funny because it's a bit of a paradox, because
It is.
we're saying about like the fear factor,
Yeah,
and then actually kind of the fear of realism.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
realistic world.
Absolutely.
You know, is kind of the safe net to not go too hardcore on your dream. But the thing is, the dream is also evolving over time. So maybe what you thought you put so much value on, like let's say 10 years ago, is now something else.
Yep.
And I think generally also when it comes down to kids, it's a different thing as well, because once you have kids, I believe that's the priority number one. Everything goes on the side. It's like a secondary project, but the main project is to provide for the, like, to
You're
make-
growing up
yeah,
kids. Yeah.
and provide for them and make sure that they're safe and don't die along the process.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know it's completely subjective. I mean, every one of us has his own pasts, kind of, where he has done some, or he has some things that he was maybe thinking of nowadays that he could done this the other way around,
Yeah.
kind of. Well, but I guess that if you have someone that you could maybe talk to and talk about your ideas and have this conversation and the little personal interactions where he can maybe tell you, oh, think about a different perspective, kind of,
Yes.
and not only doing it on your own,
Yeah.
and don't be that egoistic guy who's just doing the one thing for your dream, kind of, then it will definitely help you out. And if you share the love, kind of, or the passion, then you're maybe a bit more happier, I guess.
Yes, I think so as well. But I think this is something I've been like putting a lot of effort to or attention on. Who are the people I'm surrounding myself with? But I see a lot of people, let's say, don't really give a lot of thought to that, and they're
Yep.
surrounded by the wrong people. And then if you would decide to open up to those people and talk about those dreams, they probably will not give you the good,
Feedback.
the good
Yep.
type of advice.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I guess uh, that I can be very happy with my
Yeah.
whole friends, and I can be very happy that I'm a friend of you also. No, I'm honest. I love to have someone you are really you can talk to about everything, and can also talk about your fears and about your bad thoughts, kind of, because nobody of us is perfect. And also, in the music industry, you're maybe sometimes surrounded with people that are only thinking about themselves, kind of.
Yeah.
And this is nothing that is for something that I want to afford, kind of, myself.
Yeah.
I want to have a nice community, and I want to have some really close friends that I can meet up. And even if you're not meeting them every day or every week, that when you meet them again, you can have the same nice conversations again and again, and you're just feeling warm welcomed.
Yes.
And I think we are all human beings that want to have this nice feeling, this nice atmosphere, and it's something. I'm a guy who's not really that often alone, and I'm pretty happy about that. Actually, I'm not that guy who's sitting at home just doing my own kind of stuff without talking or meeting people.
Yeah.
So the socialness is important, and you can learn about that so much. And
Yeah.
you, especially if you have own projects, they can give you so much nice feedback. They are honest to you, that they don't want to give you advices that they will get out the most of, kind of.
True.
And I'm really glad and happy that I'm surrounded by nice people.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's really critical, in general for your life and well-being. I think I went a bit more from being a loner, let's say a proper
Mm-hmm.
guy who sits and just works on his own thing, to a more sociable person in general.
Yeah.
And I think actually, on the side of mental health things, that was a very positive thing. Because I think one of the things that actually kind of causes depression, not really causes it, but I think one factor is if you're alone for a long time and have the time to overthink everything, then it's going to be a huge, let's say, puzzle to solve on your own. Whereas if you're busy the whole time, you don't have that time to think about it at all,
Oh yes,
you know?
absolutely. That's what I'm noticing over the last months. Actually, if I have more time for myself, I'm rethinking about too much stuff,
Yeah.
and I'm noticing that it's not really helping me out
Yeah.
in a way. And that's what I'm saying a lot, is like I need to have a structure where I know that I have some projects that I'm basically working on, something that I can at some point finish and then do the next thing, and don't have that too much time where I can just do like sitting on the couch watching some Netflix stuff and just thinking about how life could be, kind of.
Yeah.
And this is something that I'm really hoping for this year, that there will be more things I can work on, kind of,
Yes.
and putting my work and my like excitement into.
Yeah. But I need to break it up a bit just for a sec, a little break, I think,
Yeah.
because I need to go to the bathroom.
Do it, man.
Okay. And we're back.
We are back.
We're back. After a little break.
Yes, got some fresh air, some water.
Yes. The basics of life.
Absolutely.
Groupie now. Oh, he's gonna drink out of your water.
Oh, it's fine.
But he's a cat.
I know.
All right.
All right, man. Yeah. So what are you missing most in of like club experience?
Mm.
I know it's a hard question.
Don't get me started. Everything, man. Like everything. Like the club being a safe place where you can go and chill and just be yourself.
Yeah.
And meet up with some friends, catching up. And I think, I don't know, it's a weird, safe place that you can always go to. And it's always nice.
Yeah. Do you miss that like loud sound system? Because I totally miss like listening to music really intensive, kind of.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
It's also something that I'm noticing when I'm like playing records. I'm loving that you can handle those basses, kind of, and handle the extensive feelings.
Yeah.
Kind of. And yeah, it's super interesting. And I think also like people that haven't been to a club before, after they've like noticed what an experience this is, they've definitely are hooked, kind of. And yeah, that was the same when I went to a club with my parents the first time. It's that was pretty crazy, actually, because when I finished school, I had a school finishing party, which is called Abi party, and to be honest, the party was shit. And I think it was like midnight when my parents were also a bit annoyed, and we decided to go to a club. And that was pretty crazy because my parents haven't been to a club before in their life. And the club we went to was the Arena here in Berlin. So a pretty big club, also with this nice swimming pool inside the Spree. So I think a beautiful location.
How old were you back then?
It was 2012, so I was 18.
Okay.
19, I think. 18 or 19. I'm not entirely sure what date this was, but yeah, something around this.
Okay.
And yeah, my parents were always wondering why I went to clubs, because I went to clubs the first time, I think, when I was 14.
Okay.
To a shitty club called Matrix.
Yep.
I think you had the same experience.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, Matrix is the number one place to go to. I mean, it's the best club there is in Hall of Berlin. Probably the best club in the world.
Absolutely. When
Absolutely not.
absolutely not. When you're searching for like hip hop and electro parties back then, and the thing with the Matrix was that they allowed people that were 14 or older that they can party until 11, I think. And you need a special letter from your parents that you're allowed to go in.
Oh, cute.
And yeah.
But how would they separate then after 11? Do they have like a separate area for it?
No, they hadn't. And that was basically the problem because you could also stay longer, but as soon as the police came sometimes, you were fucked, kind of. And I had this experience when I was, I guess, 15.
Okay.
When we went to a recorder. It's a club, or it was a club at the Janowitzbrücke, just near where I'm living now. And every time I'm walking by, I have this thoughts about those nights because they were sometimes doing razzias, kind of. So they were looking for drugs in the clubs.
Okay.
And in the one special night, I was there with some friends, and yes, definitely people were smoking joints and taking drugs also.
Yeah.
And I went there, and I think I also had like a letter from my parents. I was lucky. But then the police came with like 10 cars
Really?
full of people. So I mean,
they came into the club.
They came into the club like 50, 60 people, 56 police guys and girls. And it was totally crazy because everybody was like really shocked, and the younger kids, they escaped during some doors, kind of, and they were just running through and over the street, kind of, and they were all meeting at the other side of the street, kind of, where the police were they were like looking at the personal IDs and checking how old the people are and if they had drugs with them. And I had this experiences a few times, but especially in the recorder, like it was after 11 for sure. And we were lucky to get out, and nobody like controlled us, kind of, because we were one of the first people that were on the exit, kind of.
Okay.
But that was a crazy time when I also told my parents that I went to a friend, but we went out then. sorry, my parents, if they listen to it. But yeah, I know it was a crazy time back then. And those experiences I had like when I was younger. But my parents, they were always wondering what I'm doing there, and I'm pretty sure they had no idea how the atmosphere was.
Yeah.
And then when we went to the arena together, my father, he was never a smoker, but I think he was smoking a cigar or something. And then he was standing in the queue waiting to get in, and he was a bit scared because he had this little cigarette or cigar, and he was like, "Oh, is it allowed to go inside the club smoking?"
Yeah.
And he was scared, kind of. And when we were at the cashier, kind of, I had to show them my ID.
Yes.
And then I got in.
Yeah.
And my parents were just with me. And they didn't had the option to show the ID.
Okay.
And my mother was really sad about that. She was like, "Wow, damn, why didn't they want to see my ID?" kind of. And I mean, she looked a bit older back then, so yes. I definitely get why she wasn't controlled. But so that was the first funny thing in that evening.
Yeah.
In that night, kind of. And then they went to the dance floor, and the music was, I think it was a bit more techno back then, but I'm not entirely sure anymore. But my parents were just standing there on the dance floor in the crowd, and just dancing. And sometimes they were just moving a bit out of the crowd and just looking to the dancing people, and they really enjoyed it. And I mean, they had also a few drinks, so they were really free, and they loved it. They loved to be with the whole like younger people dancing and like screaming, yeah, nice music, and it was a nice experience. And then they've noticed that there was a guy. He's pretty famous in Berlin, I guess. He's called Komet Bernhard, and he was also in the crowd, like dancing. And he is, I think, in his 70s. He has a really long white beard, long white hair, and he looks pretty old. But he dresses like a bit like a raver sometimes. He has like bubbles with him, and like he just looks like he's really a club guy, and he's at lots of parties. And my parents were really amazed that they were not the oldest people in that room. And that's what they're telling me back then, but also nowadays, that that was a great experience. And they are asking me, have you heard about Komet Bernhard again? Because I met him also a few years later at a home party, and we talked, and he's a pretty nice and chilled guy. And I also went partying with him in Hamburg, because we switched numbers, we changed numbers, and then we were writing just sometimes randomly, and then he told me that he's in Hamburg when I studied in Hamburg. And that he was invited to a party from Stil for Talent, and I was a huge fan. Back then, it was my dream favorite label. And I went to this party for free. That was really nice, and got backstage, and the atmosphere was totally crazy, because every also younger girl was really in love with him, and they were all like flirting, and he's also like, he's a really flirty guy. He's also like dancing really flirty with the girls, and so that was really nice. And my parents are still asking me if I hear something about him, and I haven't actually in the last year, but
that's because of Corona, probably.
That's because of Corona for sure. But it is super amazing to see how people that haven't had any experiences can be really amazed by the first time they've been to a club, and also noticing that there are all kinds of people. And that was something that my parents really loved, and now they are listening to house music. My father's also got some really big speakers in their house, and every time I'm coming, he's like playing jazz, or he's playing really loud house music, really bassy stuff. And my parents are also listening to my sets, and they are really supportive. They also went when we were playing together to some parties.
I think that's super dope, and I think you have super dope parents that go with you to the club.
I love them.
You know.
Man, it's super nice.
And I think also Berlin is one of the, I guess, few cities where that's really possible, to basically where age is not a restriction to anything. People just come to the club and just dance, and it doesn't really matter how old you are. Well, obviously you need to be over 18 for legal reasons with drinking and all the other stuff. But I think that's very nice, because the whole safe space, safe spot of a club being also not being looked at by too many people. I think this is the nice thing about having dark clubs, which are a bit more darker. That people are not checking out the other people the whole time. Of course, you can look at the crowd, they're dancing, everyone's chilling. But it's not like, you're really there to just look at people and you're looked at and you feel uncomfortable. It's more like it's dark, there is smoke, like smoke machines or from all the smoke that people smoke. And you're just dancing, and you're basically in a club, but also nowhere, because,
Yeah, absolutely. And that totally depends from club to club.
Yeah.
how the atmosphere is, how the light system is, how the people are reacting. I mean, there are clubs that people come to because they want to find someone who you can spend the night with.
Yes.
Kind of.
I think Matrix would be.
Yeah, that's one of the clubs. Or I'm living just close to Schillingstraße, and there's also a hip hop club where lots of people are like coming with their big cars, and the girls are like really like wearing high shoes, and yeah, they want to show what they are kind of, and it's more important how you look
Yeah.
in those kind of clubs.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's super nice that you have clubs where it's not important, and also that it's not a question of how old you are, that
Yes.
you can like miss sometimes also rooms where you have this kind of anonymous atmosphere but also familiarity.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. I mean, you don't know lots of the people inside a club, but you feel that you're on the same wave with them.
Yes.
An experience that definitely is not happening too often in other locations,
True.
kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that really comes down to the club for sure. But yeah, like Matrix, it's a different kind of club. But funnily enough, it was the first club in Berlin I went to, and I know it's the same for you.
Yes, absolutely.
Our first Berlin club experience,
Yes.
the shittiest club of Berlin.
It is. And I went to this club with a friend, and he was like a party photographer. And
Yeah.
this is also something I'm noticing, that like there are clubs that really need kind of those party photographers where people are standing there in a group, and a photographer is taking a photo of you so that you have a nice memory.
Yeah.
And it's also a bit of posing, and
Yeah.
who's the most beautiful person in the club
Yes.
during that night. And also I think the promoters use that to show, oh, we have like beautiful guys and girls in the club.
Yeah.
But during that time, that was nice for me and also for my friend, because we were invited to a few parties, and we had the possibility. We were young, but we also had the possibility to look inside different clubs and to go to different parties. But what I'm noticing is that this is not the right atmosphere I'm looking now for a club.
Yeah.
Party kind of. I haven't seen any party photographer since a few years. We have done that with our first parties in Hamburg also,
Yeah.
but then we got rid of it really quickly,
Yeah.
because we were also not really feeling that it's important to do something. We were also having like a guy who filmed a bit of the night,
Yes.
for a little after party video.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's something that is not important for a good party. Something that I've noticed over the last years.
Yeah. Yeah. What I've kind of experienced in the Netherlands, that trailers and after movies, like for the parties, are very important. But like what I saw generally from all the festivals and this kind of thing, it's generally they portray then, let's say, the female visitors as like in a, in a sex sells kind of way.
Absolutely.
And they're selling the tickets that way. But for that, of course, you also need the lights at the party and this kind of thing. So it's generally not as dark.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's kind of mixed, because from from one side, you, especially if you have like a crew and this has been your project together, you're basically also collecting memories for yourself with the pictures and with the after movie.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it's also like, okay, who are you going to show this to and how are you going to use it? Is it only to remember this, or is it really to market and like do the marketing and the promotion of the party?
And it's something I'm noticing also with lots of DJs that are now like playing gigs and someone is standing behind them and filming some nice tracks.
Yeah.
I've noticed that it's something that is really important for your own persona, what I've talked before, like your own business kind of, to show people it was crowded and lots of people were dancing to my music.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I find that really interesting sometimes to listen to some new tracks that they've maybe played because it's unreleased stuff or something, and I sometimes enjoy that. But on the other hand, I ask myself, is it really important to like collect those memories? And I guess if the vibe is right and someone is filming a bit, then it's nice. But I think it's not the most important thing for a nice party to just collect the crowded moments.
True. That is true. But this is the thing also. I think it's another paradox generally with DJs and making a business out of it. Because then you would have to collect all the thing if you want to do like good social media posting to grow, to let the promoters know that you've been playing in front of huge crowds and crazy situations and in weird locations. And it is then, I think it is good from the business side of things to actually do it to grow, which then again like pumps some of the like financial stuff into the scene again. But from the other hand, it's like, how connected are you still with the actual parties?
Absolutely.
And is this gonna be so are you more for living in that moment and being okay with being like on the same vibe as the people, being, let's say, I don't know, like in a weird kind of vibing with them and sharing that together, or like being always the image that you want people to see of you and having those certain outfit on and doing this certain kind of move where people will recognize you, and that's like, okay.
I mean, there is, in my opinion, nothing bad about like filming or doing photos of some nice memories and also like posting stuff, but I definitely see your point also, and I agree that it's not sometimes the right way it should be, kind of, and it always has something to do with how you communicate this, I guess. I mean, it's not really easy, and it's also a question of, are you building a brand yourself, kind of? Do you want to always be in the right light, kind of? The guy who is always like playing rough techno sets in a really dark, sweaty environment and then posting videos of that. And I mean, that is content that the people are maybe interested in and that the people like. And sure, I mean, you don't hurt anybody with that. But I think you don't, it's not important and like a key factor of your set to show the people the most valued and the most perfect video or photo of one of the parts of your set.
Yeah, and I think this is what I like sometimes when you see some of the bigger DJs who are, let's say, playing somewhere at an after party and they're super fucked. And I think then they're really into that moment. Maybe they feel super disgusting and they don't want anyone to see that either, you know?
Absolutely.
But they're connected in that moment with the people and they're having like a great time. And I think that's the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And it has to be authentic, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not about like reacting and being that person who really tries to create that perfect thing. It's a bit like how you want to be as an artist. It's the same when you are like a guy who's doing like pictures. Who's like a photographer and always wants the perfect shot, kind of.
Yeah.
But sometimes the perfect shot is not the shot that you've like had the settings done for an hour or something. Sometimes it's just a little like a short moment where what you've caught, kind of, and
Yeah,
those are
definitely, yeah.
sometimes the best pictures, and
Yes.
not the ones that are a bit steril, kind of.
Yeah, they're kind of staged or not staged, but like
Yeah.
made perfect.
Yeah,
with artwork,
it has to be authentic.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Yeah, and that's the interesting thing. I think I see a lot of people, including myself, like posting online on social media, not really doing a lot with it, you know.
It's this is really a tough topic for me, because I'm always two-sided with that. I totally have lots of respect for people that are building up themselves a nice like content creating, and there are people that I'm really like following and that I love to see what they have to say, kind of,
Yeah.
because I think they are doing it authentic and they are doing it interesting.
Okay.
But I'm always asking myself, is how can I do this the way I'm feeling good about it,
Yeah.
kind of. And this is the thing we were talking before, like maybe I'm rethinking too much, like
Yeah.
is that the right way I want to post stuff? And it's paradox, like you said. It's nothing that I can really explain.
Yeah.
It's just a feeling inside me. But yeah, I definitely have respect for people that are building that. And I mean, Berlin house music is also something that is really constantly having interesting content, kind of nice new music. And I guess there are people that are interested in that kind of content. There are maybe people that are not interested.
Yeah.
But that's fine, as long as you have the right feeling with that, you personally.
Yeah, true. I think what's, let's say, easy about Berlin house music posting generally, it is fresh music that comes in, and that's what the post is about.
Yep.
So it's not linked to personal, it's just music.
Yep.
House music
Yep.
that I like. But when it comes to my own DJ stuff, then it becomes hard, because then it becomes very personal.
Absolutely.
And I think also the way of looking at it, I'm like, okay, what is my goal?
Yeah.
And especially what's going to be the goal on social media, because obviously the DJ part is bigger than social media. For people who didn't know that. You know, there is a physical world of DJing, but a lot of it has gone to social media. But what is your goal? What do you want to reach with it? And then, you know, post into that, like into the answer of that question, kind of.
Yeah.
But the problem I have is I've never really gotten a good answer. I've never really
Yeah, it's the same
given
with
a
me.
good answer, to
Yeah.
that question.
We have the same feelings, I guess, and the same thoughts. And I know that social media is sometimes about posting moments, like just snaps, kind
Yes.
of. And this could be really interesting sometimes. But I guess you have to have the right amount of like feeling of how you putting out stuff and putting yourself not into a weird direction, kind of.
Yes.
But I mean, everybody uses it differently, and I guess there's not the perfect recipe for it,
No.
I guess.
Yes, it is. It is hard, but that's the thing because it's so public, also, and as a person, you change over time.
Yep. Totally.
You don't want to. At least I have the feeling, like lately, I don't want to have everything set in stone too much.
Yeah.
But I also, like, I actually checked how many, let's say, how many actual leads for gigs I got out of Instagram generally, like direct via Instagram. Because I know everybody uses Instagram to, let's say, get an idea of what kind of person they are, kind of the perfect stalking app to check someone's background, basically, you know, or what kind of persona they have.
Yeah.
But direct leads from there, I actually never really got for gigs.
Yeah.
So I thought, like, okay, I need to make a decision. Either I'm gonna be doing this right and answering this question, and then, let's say, posting daily and making it a huge thing.
Yeah.
Or I could just delete it and put that time into music, to actually making music.
Yeah.
So I deleted it, and I was gone.
Yeah, I know that you deleted it, and it's a interesting step, I guess, and it's, in my opinion, not important and not the most important thing, I guess, to have a great social media going on. There are also like people on SoundCloud that are not posting that much stuff, but they're also reaching new followers and like having new interests, like or new people that are interested in you, and it's not about money or anything. It's more about what you really care about, and you're only like maybe reposting stuff that you are really connected with or that you really love at that moment. And I definitely think that it's also good to have some screen off time, like some digital detox, how it's called. I noticed that also that when I have time for like chilling, I'm too often a lot on my phone, just scrolling up and down.
Yes.
And this annoys me about myself.
Yes.
But I think it is in the now, in times where it's not easy to like see everybody, it's also interesting to get connected kind of during social media.
True.
But there's also this question, like, what are the people that you want to be connected with?
Yeah, and that's the thing. But I think, well, it is a hard one.
It is really hard.
You can almost do anything and everything from your phone, basically. Also, like, very productive things, communication, this kind of thing, research, online research into new DJs, all that. But and connecting with the family and friends. But I think the world's kind of then merged together, as in you're busy with one thing, then you get the notification from this and this and this and this, and before you know it, you've spent so many hours on that thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are gadgets like the Apple Watch where you like are connected 24/7 if you have it all on your watch, kind of. Or there are different watches, but that's just one example. And I know that it can be really productive, and I know this topic is really hard because I feel that I myself are not entirely like confident in that kind of business. I'm not feeling that I'm using it the perfect way, the way I maybe have my same thoughts about myself and how I want to use that kind of. And I'm totally have respect for people who are really happy with their like social media stuff. But yeah, I'm totally sure that if you stay connected the whole time and trying to post everything, then I'm not sure if it annoys you at one point.
Yeah, it is a hard one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because at one point also, if you're connected to so many people all the time, it is hard. Plus, you want to give them all the attention they
Yeah,
deserve.
absolutely.
But they're simply too much. Those would be people that you would meet up over the years. They live maybe in different countries. You've met on vacation, maybe on your work and travel trip to Australia.
Yeah.
But now they're all in there in your phone.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I'm noticing, I mean, there are people that are using that for like selling stuff or for like brands stuff,
Yeah.
like building up a huge community of a kind of fan base.
Yeah.
And that's perfectly fine if you use that, because so you can stay connected with your people. And I guess that you kind of feel happy with it if you get like great responses out of it, and it pushes yourself for sure. But I'm noticing that the people, if they are like really professionals in that way, they are not, I think, not thinking too much about how can I post this and that. They try to do it authentic in a way that they are just putting out lots of stuff, like normal day stuff.
Yes. Well, I think you kind of, generally, I think there is like a kind of scheduling ahead idea.
Yeah.
Making content for, let's say, at
Yeah.
least a month ahead. And then on the daily basis, you're actually never thinking of the post that you're making for that day. So that's kind of an easy way. So then this kind of interferes with the moments idea, because then it's not actual real moments for that day because you've made this previously.
Yeah.
Which
True.
is very functional, very good to keep posting, because let's say you feel down one day, or just like really feel a bit depressed and you just need the day off.
Yeah.
Then you can still use the pictures, or you've already scheduled it probably in the
Yeah,
social media,
absolutely.
and it just gets posts, it gets likes and comments, whatever.
Yeah. And you that's one important thing, I guess. You show the people that you are active and that you are there,
Yeah.
and that they are not like missing something.
Yes.
And this is I think one of the most important things for the social media plan, kind of, to be into discussions, into that the people are really talking about you.
Yes. Yeah, that is true. Yeah. That's when stuff blows up, I think, Yeah. People's like, hey, what is he up to? What is she up to?
Yeah.
Let's see what they're doing.
Yeah. But I mean, okay, social media is definitely something that is not easy, but that's what I like, to actually meet people in real life.
Yes.
In situations, in bars, in clubs, wherever, and just talking to them and take your real time to like have some nice interactions.
Yes.
And not only have like something like, wow, that's fire or something. I mean,
yes.
It is nice, but
yeah.
I mean, you get the most out of it when you really talk to the people and listening to them, listening to their needs.
True.
I guess this is also something what they've like thinking about, maybe their problems, but maybe great ideas they have.
Yeah. It's basically like really being in the moment.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, like a problem I have with, let's say, people who would then interrupt being in the moment.
Yep.
Because they are thinking of social media and how important it is to capture this moment.
I know.
For social media.
Yep.
I'm like, dude, now your virtual life is having an impact on like your real life and my real life, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think it's okay to go out and have like shoots and this kind of thing, to make content, to create content that's like super nice. But let's say if you're meeting up a friend to catch up and then you interrupt the moment to make that picture to post, I'm like, dude, not cool, man, not cool.
Yeah, I definitely, I agree on that. That doesn't happen to me very often. But I guess that it's annoying at some point.
Yeah.
And
that's because you surround yourself with the right people, my friend.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Choices.
That's true. I'm really happy with my friends, and I'm really happy with the people I'm talking to, and it's the same with you. And also, like, other people that have the same passions, or friends from completely different views. And I guess this is the most important thing for me. This is also why my basic idea and why I'm loving playing records is like the interaction with the people, and that they come to you and tell you, wow, that's a really nice track, or wow, it's a super nice atmosphere here, or wow, what did you do over the last month? Let's just have a talk, or
True.
a mate or something.
Or, hey, can you please give me 2 beers? Because sometimes people mistake the DJ booth for the bar. 2
Those
beers,
are-
please. 2 beers.
those are the funny moments. Or I remember the one time when we were playing at Musicology, and the one girl was shouting the whole time, "Play Beyonce," and that was like I think she was from Norway, or from oh no, she was from the Netherlands, I guess.
Yes, but wasn't it? I think it was.
Wasn't it Beyonce?
About no. I think it was "Say My Name."
Ah, damn.
Say my name. Say my name.
Ah, yeah, true. Damn.
But that's
It's
the thing. She said
too
like
long ago.
she was screaming the whole time, basically like "Say my name, say my name." So I asked her what her name was. She gave me her name, and when she said "Say my name," I just said her name. Problem solved.
Nice, man. So I love those interactions, and that's what I also love about small bars and playing there. Sometimes it's so funny. There's so many nice, funny moments. You don't have to capture. It's just funny for yourself, and
True.
yeah, and I guess those are the nice feelings you get out of like music connects. Sometimes
Yes.
in a weird way. Say my
Definitely.
name, but it's cool, and it makes fun, and that's in the first place the most important thing. I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, definitely. We had some fun nights at Musicology.
Oh yes.
Shout out.
Shout out to Craig Belmer. Also,
Shout out to Craig Belmer.
also really nice.
Yes.
Yeah, we have to do that again.
Yeah, we sure we gonna
As
for
soon as
sure.
it's possible again.
as soon as possible. But I would like people to dance, so they need to get rid of the what do you call it?
The sofas, couches.
No, not the club itself, but the government needs to get rid of the no dancing regulation, so
Yeah,
people
yeah,
can
yeah.
dance.
Yeah,
'Cause I
absolutely.
missed that, you know.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I thought you might because in Musicology they are removing
Ah, yeah,
the
true.
furniture after a certain time.
Yeah,
When there are more people and it's a bit more crowded, then they are putting away the couches. And
Yeah.
shout outs to the guy at the door. And
true.
I'm not sure, is he one of the owner? I'm not sure at all, but he's a really funny guy.
He
Shout
is a
out.
super funny guy. Shout out to him. Always supportive.
Yeah.
Makes fun of us a lot
He
of
makes-
times,
he
but
makes
in a funny
really-
way.
Yeah, he makes fun for sure.
Yeah.
He's just sometimes coming around and asking, "Oh man, what's that for a shitty track?"
Yes.
And he's just like, "No, I'm kidding." I mean, he's cool. He's cool. And also something, I think we've talked about that before, but it's super interesting to talk to the bartenders
Yes.
and to their opinions, how the night was, how the people reacted, how the music was.
True.
I had some really great conversations with the people there in small bars, especially like Musicology or Craig Belmer, where there were like people really passionate about music, and they've listened to so many DJ sets. They had so many party nights.
Yeah.
Most of the time, like sober or not so fucked up that they can't remember anymore, but they have a nice feeling of what is a good night, kind
True.
of, and they can give you awesome feedback also. And they are really experienced, and I guess they are also sometimes party people that like to go out when they are not working.
Yeah.
So definitely have a chat to the bartenders. That's a nice way to start a night and also to end the night
Definitely.
when the bar is closed again.
Yeah, I think generally we experience this at like a lot of places in Berlin.
Yeah.
Generally just being nice to the people, the employees, your colleagues for the night basically.
Absolutely.
But it's weird how like, let's say, happy they are with us just being normal dudes. Because I
Yes,
think they have had so many bad experiences with the
absolutely.
DJ coming like super arrogant, taking their drugs where there is like no atmosphere for that. There
Yeah,
is no one there.
totally,
Yeah.
totally. I've heard so many crazy stories about like people, and there's nothing bad about playing the music you like, but people playing like really really rough, like Goa trance or something in a bar, or
Yes.
and completely misunderstanding the whole night, kind of the
Yeah.
whole vibe, and that are really like trying to push and like trying to be that person who is only playing that stuff.
Yeah.
And I guess this is also a problem with bookings sometimes,
Definitely. Yeah.
they are not the right bookings. But yeah, it is really important to have this right feeling how the people on the dance floor or sitting next to the dance floor, how they want to spend the night with.
Yeah.
And it's not important to play just like hits, but it is important to check how they are feeling. And the
Yes.
bartenders also, like, they are like listening to your music really loud the whole night,
Yes.
and you don't want to annoy them in a way. um, so
Yeah, they the bartenders need to listen to the whole set.
yes,
If you're doing all nighter, let's say like 6 to 7 hours, or maybe even longer,
yeah,
that's a long time,
it is.
to listen
And
to someone's
that's,
music.
yeah, sometimes twice or even more often in a week.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a lot.
it is a lot, yes.
So, but yeah, I think generally the warm up sets, or when you begin the night, you have like there is no energy basically, especially if there's no visitors yet.
Yeah.
And you basically create the energy.
Yeah.
And the night is a long night, so you don't want to start peak time.
Yeah.
You want to get the people grooving a little bit,
Yeah.
shaking their heads a little bit.
Yes.
Then at one point, not being able to sit down, just standing up and dancing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I guess the opening and closing sets are the most important ones.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, in my opinion, especially in bars. Maybe not all the time in clubs, because there can be parties where it's crowded from minute one, because the people are really like searching for that special kind of music. But if you're playing in a smaller bar or a smaller club where the people are just coming there because they maybe want to have a drink at first and then seeing how the night starts, then
True.
don't be that rude guy who is like playing really, yes, stuff that is not fitting.
Yeah. Well, but they're also rude, like visitors or people
Oh,
who come.
absolutely. Not only DJs, yeah.
Oh man, because I had this one night, and I think I started earlier. Anyways, I think from the whole thing was from 11 o'clock. Then a DJ is gonna come play. And then it was 11.
Yeah.
And then this lady, like dressed up super differently to the bar atmosphere, basically.
Yeah.
Shouts from the corner, "Hey DJ, hey DJ." So when are you gonna play music that we can dance to?
Yeah.
I was like,
This hurts.
that is kind of what I'm doing right now,
Yes.
Ouch.
Yes, I know this hurts. Ow.
But I understand this is, I think then what she thinks about is more like having the hard techno kind of thing where they're forced to dance and
Yeah.
not necessarily starting the night at 11 o'clock,
Yeah.
The night's long. It's gonna stay at least till like 7. So you have a lot of time to build up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess this is a mindset what you maybe notice when some people are coming in a club or in a bar where they like give the music a bit of time, where just listening to it and then maybe feeling the music or not. I mean, everybody has a different taste, and
True.
if it's not your taste, then all right, then
Get the fuck out of here.
sad, but you don't have to scream to the DJ, kind of.
Yes.
This is rude, and I guess that there are open-minded people that maybe normally listen to really like slow or really fast music, and that are not used to those kind of music. But you can also you can get used to it and can dance to it.
Yeah, but
Um,
I think
but that's an open-minded thing, kind of.
yes, but this is the thing. What I noticed with a lot of people who come in, if the person has an own agenda, let's say they have, okay, then my night's gonna look like this. I'm gonna go to this club and
Yeah.
I'm gonna have this kind of music. I'm gonna be dancing to this. If it doesn't, if then they arrive at the club and it doesn't suit
Yeah.
what they had in mind,
Yes.
then they're gonna try to
This is
not
true.
go to a different place, but to adjust the whole surrounding
Absolutely.
to
Yeah.
what they want the night to
Yeah.
look like.
Yeah.
And that's like generally really hard to pull off.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You're definitely that's a really important thing that you've just said. I mean, normally there are not that much people that are going really often and in a kind of structured way to a club.
Yeah.
But they are just going out for a birthday party
Yes.
or because they have some friends visiting and they want to show them the nightlife of Berlin. And they have like you said, like a really own agenda of the night, with their own thoughts.
Yeah.
How the club and the sound should sound like, how the people should react, and to show them, the people that are with or yourself, how cool the thing is that you're into, kind of. And I guess this is important, that people sometimes are not really like used to go to parties, and don't get used to let it just flow,
Yes.
like naturally.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing. This is what I love about like random nights where you kind of start up with a friend and
Yeah.
you say like, okay, well actually they are playing very different music in that club that they usually play this kind of music in.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's check what's going on. You
Yeah.
know, go on resident advisor. You know, back in the day when events were allowed.
Yeah.
And then you find like a nice lineup, and then you maybe check out like a whole new club kind of thing. Maybe you get rejected at the door and you move on to the next one. You
Yeah.
know, you just chill.
Yeah.
And
Let
don't know.
the night go.
Yeah.
Like, kind of. Yeah. And I know that not everybody has the time and the energy for that, but I mean, you could just be a bit more open-minded. It's the same thing with new music.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to like everything you hear, and it's also totally fine if you just listen to one specific kind of genre because you're absolutely in love with that.
House music.
The house music, yes, that's for us the right choice. But the funny thing is, I had a colleague, and she was only listening to one specific band.
House music. Oh, not house.
not house music, just one specific band, and she had all of that merch, and she was listening to just this one thing the whole day.
How many releases did they have?
Wow.
Because that's the thing,
I can tell you the name. It's Jennifer Rostock.
Oh, okay.
It's like, I think, rock music and German things, and it's she was such a big fan that she was only listening to that.
Okay.
And I was, because the funny thing was, she had like headphones that she was listening to this the whole day, kind of, and all the time I was working by, I only hear those like music. And then I asked her, because she had always the merchandise. She was wearing the merchandise, and then she was like, yeah, that's the only music that's really like touching me, kind of.
Okay.
And it's fine, but it's funny. I mean,
Yes.
and not everybody has to be like open-minded for every music, but
True.
it sometimes doesn't. It's not the worst way, kind of, to experience new stuff,
Yeah.
to get out of your normal day routine.
True. Yeah, I think that is very true.
And I'm also really happy all the time when I'm like discovering new music,
Yeah.
new albums that are really awesome, and I'm listening to them a lot, and yeah, it makes me myself really happy.
So where do you listen music on the most, like digitally?
Because I have this connection to this company. I'm getting Apple Music.
Okay.
But that's only when I'm like just traveling, or when I'm bicycling, or when I'm at the train.
Okay.
And the funny thing is, I'm not only listening to house music at that time. I'm really a fan of beat instrumentals,
Okay.
like laid back boom bap hip hop beats.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful, I guess, to just chill and maybe do something beside that also.
Yeah.
It doesn't take your attention too much. I love jazzy stuff. Like, also, I'm a huge fan, and I have a huge respect for guys like Tom Misch,
Mm-hmm.
who's a multi-instrument.
I love the Mish.
Oh,
At least I haven't been listening to his latest stuff, but his earlier stuff I really loved.
the latest album is with Yusuf Days, I think, from last year.
Okay.
It's more and more jazzy.
Nice.
I mean, for me, they are like wizards.
Yes.
It's crazy. They are so good at playing different instruments. They are combining it in one perfect track, in my opinion. But I mean, those are like albums or artists that I'm listening to beside digging through house music.
Yeah, I
and
totally
it's
understand.
nice to have like different genres that sometimes fitting your mood better.
Yes.
So it's always about mood regulation, something that I'm also like had in my studies.
Yeah.
How important it is, the
Yes.
music, to regulate yourself, and really, really interesting topic.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's very interesting. Yeah, same for me. I also not always listening only to house music. I tend to listen to some jazz stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's great, and you get, I mean, you're from a producer perspective, you get also some great ideas out of it.
Yeah.
Not only staying focused on one genre.
No. No, that is true. But generally jazz is like dope as fuck.
Yes, absolutely.
It's like, the solo possibility to have that, it's like I see them kind of as tracks, like sound tracks,
Yeah.
walking next to each other. And then, let's say 3 tracks would just stand still or just, have the same speed. And then one would just make some noise, would
Yes.
just have their moment, basically.
Yeah.
And then they come back in harmony and then continue. And then the next one.
Yeah.
But everybody gets like a part of it,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's the nice thing.
And it catches the people, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna do a little check here. Okay. So, I guess we're on the over the 2 hours for sure.
Yeah.
Yes. So see you. Bye. No. I hope I didn't like interrupt too much.
No, not at all. No.
But are there any things that we still want to cover in this, sir?
I think we've talked about a lot of like our own feelings,
Yes.
situations, and it's always subjective. I mean, it's great to have your like interactions and conversations where you can learn about, also like having some tips from you how to structure stuff, or just to talk about influences and funny moments.
Yes.
It's great.
Okay. So nothing specific you want to add?
Do you have something?
No, I'm out. Well, you could do some shout outs to your peeps,
Oh.
to your girlfriend, to your parents,
Oh,
to
absolutely.
all the people, lovely people around you,
Oh, absolutely.
to the Luxus crew. I'm just doing it for you.
Man, that's perfect. I don't need to talk. I don't need to say anything more. I mean, there are so many nice people, and I'm getting my energy out of meeting those people and know that they're there for me and I'm there for them.
Yes.
And yeah, it's great. It's great to have people that care about you, and I'm caring about the people. So also thank you for your time.
For sure, man. Thank you so
And
much for doing this.
forgive me the voice
No,
to
dude.
just talk about random stuff, but it's super nice to talk to you every time.
Same, bro.
Thank you very much.
And I thank you like a lot for doing this again, because this is the second time that we record this, because the first time I did fuck up huge.
No, man, it's technique. I know.
Yeah, we're learning step by step.
Sometimes, yeah, it's human-computer interaction. Sometimes it's not easy.
True.
We have to learn.
True. But I'm looking forward to doing this again.
Yeah.
Maybe on like a specific topic that
Yeah.
we might be interested in doing some research on it.
I'm open for it all the time. Just let me know and we will stay in contact for sure all the time. So it was nice, and yeah, thank you for just having those nice opportunities and just talking and chilling together.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for doing this, and thank you for being who you are. A nice dude.
Oh, no.
And
you are the nice dude.
No, sir. You are the nice dude. I'm getting into that right now.
Not again.
All right.
Yeah, so I hope that the people that are listening to us now, that they are like getting something out of this and maybe feel the same.
True. And if you haven't really, then maybe it's not the right podcast for you. Just same idea as the club, you know.
Yeah, maybe.
No.
Just let us know what you guys think about this.
Yes. And, we love you all. It's all good.
We are all lovely people.
Yes.
And
all right.
loving people. All right.
Till the next time then.
Yeah.
And have a good one. And stay safe, stay healthy, stay making beats, listening to house music.
Oh, yes.
And,
stay housey.
Stay housey. Oh, that's going to be a label soon, I bet.
Nice.
All right.
All right. See you.
See you. Ciao.